I guess maintenance is kind of a very boring word for describing the daily operations of running a robot. Like robots are autonomous machines, but they are only autonomous to a certain degree. I guess maybe that's also kind of a mislabeling or misconception, where companies that buy robots assume they install them and they don't have anything to do with them, right? And I guess like out of this misperception, we saw it ourselves in projects. We started a lot with renting out robots, and we saw like that the team on the ground, the people that are supposed to run the robot, they don't know how to interact. So that's basically the misconception here. Imagine you have a mobile robot, right, that is driving or cleaning, and then it stands still and is blinking red, and you don't know what to do. And no one feels responsible. So and because they are autonomous, like to a large degree, they stand in some corner of a warehouse or of a factory, so that maybe a person is noticing that it stands idle, but it can take time, right? Because it's autonomous and can be in some location where no person joins, or the person that passes doesn't feel responsible. So we saw this many times that projects fail. Like I called it a graveyard of projects. So they're really like, no one likes to talk about it, but there are really like hundreds, if not thousands of robots that are standing in the corner, right? Certainly millions of investments because of that. So there's a need for the end user to get those machines running, right? To give the teams on site the right information. And the same need is from a vendor, because the vendor has the same problem. They want to sell more robots. They want to make the project successful. But if the connect between the on-site team and the robot vendors doesn't work, then the project will fail. So there is this huge need of getting successful projects, and we are bridging basically the gap between the robots and the operators, the humans.
No, that makes total sense, where all these different implementations cannot be successful without a proper idea of how the maintenance will work. Do you think that that's when a company in an industrial or commercial setting is deploying, you use a mobile robot as a use case, when they're deploying a fleet, is that have they not considered the maintenance side of things? Is that a common theme?
I think, like, generally, like what's the state of the industry, so to say, right? If you walk into a random factory or warehouse, usually there is no maintenance system at all in place. So it's called reactive, right? Something breaks down, the person goes there and fixes it, which is expensive. Like that's why we also expand into other areas, because like if you only fix once it broke, you miss the opportunity to act before it gets very expensive, and or you have a breakdown of your production. But it still works, right, to a certain degree. So like most of the companies don't have this covered. But once you introduce robots and you invest like a few million into a robot fleet, and you don't have that fixed, the project will fail, almost certainly.